And we are live. Welcome to this edition of Wealthy Wednesday. Today is going to be fire. I am so honored for our guest speaker here. Well, my name is Leah Garcia, financial strategist and insurance professional. And it's really my crusade to serve business owners, entrepreneurs, enterprises with up to 50,000 employees. And I teach them how to properly protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth so they can build that legacy and create generational and multi-generational wealth for their family. But you know what? Before I muck that all up, I'm going to have my AI go ahead and do the introduction for me.
Are you a business owner looking to secure your financial future and create a lasting legacy? I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional, and I specialize in guiding businesses with up to 50 employees on how to effectively protect and transfer their wealth. We break down silos with my unique approach, the wall of wealth. Imagine a seamless collaboration among your CPA, tax attorney, estate planner, and insurance expert, each playing their part in perfect harmony, ensuring your financial strategy is not just effective, but a true masterpiece. My passion stems from my own journey, from growing up on food stamps to dreaming of building community centers that empower others. Together, we'll craft a roadmap that not only safeguards your assets, but also nurtures generational wealth for your loved ones. Let's transform your vision into reality. After all, you can't measure the heart of a champion just by looking at them. Join me, and let's make your financial future shine.
I love that every time. My AI is so cool. But today is not about me. It is about my incredible guest speaker. I am so honored. And I have to show this to you. Look at her photo. Isn't that just so beautiful? You know, I talk about in that video about you can't measure the heart of a champion. And my guest speaker is truly a champion. I talk a lot about creating generational wealth. And in every family, there is the one. Well, she is actually the one in her family. She truly is. Her story is going to really probably bring you to some emotion. You might want to be having some Kleenex nearby. But what I want you to really focus on is her journey and what she's done in the end. And this is not even the end. This is the beginning of the new chapter. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome certified life coach, founder of SMA, and I call her the one. Please welcome Mrs. Dr. Amaka. Take it away, Doctor.
Hello, Leah. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm honored to be just here sharing with everyone. Just like you said, just a little bit of the story, right? Because you cannot tell it all in just one sitting. It's exciting. And usually I would not accept to come in the middle of the day because it's like this is just break time for me. But you're someone I respect a lot and I look up to you. I've always listened to your Monday shows with Eric, and it's always like very insightful. I was like, I can say no to everybody. I couldn't say no to Leah, so somehow I have to make it work. You know?
Thank
so I
you
have to
so much.
do it
And
right
this is
in the
her
middle
lunch
of
hour. She's taking her lunch hour. So it's gonna be a shorter show today, but it's gonna be fire. So hold on. That's all I'm gonna say. And really what I love is that I really have watched you, as a lot of us have watched you, truly transform. And along the way, you kind of shared little snippets of your story, but you did a lot of this in private too. So for those of us who don't know you, I can't even imagine who that is, might not know you, but for those who don't know you, kind of share a little bit about kind of what went on your journey, if you will.
Okay. Okay. I guess my name is right on the screen. My name is Amaka, right? And I'm from Nigeria, in case you're wondering where my beautiful accent is from. It's Nigerian. So I grew up in Nigeria. I had all my education in Nigeria. And I actually came to the United States not even 3+ years ago. I came in here December 28th of 2021 to begin grad school. I started my grad school right at the beginning of 2022. But that's just before that, a whole lot had happened, right? I grew up in a very small town in Nigeria, and I'm a first generation student, first generation college student, right? So just as Leah was trying to say, there's always the one in the family. So education was never really a big thing for me when I was coming up. Of course, my parents supported and sent me to school and all of those, but it wasn't really like that big, like an educated family where everybody was super big about education. So it was the same approach for me coming up, that same attitude of like just being an average student. By the time I was done with high school and it was time to go into the university, that was really where my own journey of trying to overcome trials, so to say, and overcome rejections began, because it was very usual in your mind, oh, I finished high school, the next thing would be to go into college and get a college degree. So everybody, I had all my plans, all the plans of my life laid out. I was going to finish at this age and get my degree at this age and do this at that age, just the way we lay out our life. And then the first year I applied to college, rejected. Okay, everybody said, you are young, don't worry, work harder, don't take it easy, don't give up. Sure. Second year, rejected. Okay, now it's getting serious, right? I tightened up my belt, became really serious, read harder, did better, was so excited. Oh, now I did really great. They should accept me. Rejected the third year, rejected the fourth year until the fifth year. So it was 5 years of really going through a very difficult phase of just waiting to be accepted into college. And all of these things, what added to it is that in Nigeria, there's a lot of nepotism, right? So it's always about who you know most of the time, not necessarily what you know. So if you're from upper middle class and high society, you're likely to get into college whether or not you were the greatest student. If you are from low income, poor family, it's a struggle. But I got in. When I got in, I always wanted to go and do pharmacy. That was the plan. I was like, oh yeah. For whatever reason, I don't even know why I selected pharmacy, but that was the plan. But then when I was admitted into the university, I was admitted into plant sciences. That's why I'm a doctor in agriculture right now, right? But that was really never part of the plan, because most of the time the question people ask me is, why did you choose agriculture? And then I always say, well, I did not choose agriculture. Agriculture chose me, because I didn't even know agriculture existed. The way agriculture is not such a big part of our education coming up. You hardly see a child who is aspiring to go into agriculture and do something with agriculture. At least in Nigeria, it's really not a big part of what is promoted and encouraged. So when I got into the university to do plant sciences and technology, in my mind, my life was over. It's like, what are you ever going to do with this? And people also had the same sentiments. It's like, what are you going to do with an agricultural degree? Are you going to become a farmer? Will you become a native doctor? All of those naysayers, it got to me and I was kind of depressed. That was like a low period. But having spent 5 years waiting, I did not have the luxury of saying, I'm going to reject it and wait the next year. I had already been waiting long enough, right? I'd waited 5 years. So it's like, okay, let's go. I got into the university sometime in 2011 to start my degree. And I would say it's serendipity, because I went in with that mindset of someone who was sad and unhappy and not really enjoying the course that was given. But I did meet a mentor, and I guess that meeting that mentor became a pivotal part of my story, and that's why I share it. Because I met a mentor who himself was not in agriculture, but took an interest and started, pouring into me, telling me all the prospects, all the things I could do with agriculture. Like, don't give up. All you need to do is to be the best at it. If you do well enough, you could do this, you could do that. He started painting pictures for me. It's like, oh, you could graduate with first class, you would have opportunities to go abroad. In my mind, I never saw all of those, but he was so excited that I bought into his vision. I was excited, he was excited. So that was good for me. So I started working hard, following that mentoring process. And it was very intensive because he was present. He was a young lecturer in the university as of then. So he would check in on my grades. He wanted to know how I was doing. He would give feedback. He would give support. And to tell you that I went from an average student who was rejected from getting into college for 5 years, who was from a very average home, poor home, not much of an education person, to graduating as overall best out of like 20,000 students. I finished as overall best, all the departments. And in that moment, what that did for me was that it showed me how powerful we can be as human beings for another person. He just painted that picture that like human beings, we are just like gods. If somebody could just pick you up from being so average and then you're finishing as overall best in the school. But that was just like the beginning of the journey. Oh, wow, I finished as overall best. What is the future going to hold? I went on to get my master's degree, and then the next thing was like, okay. And the funny thing is that as of when I was leaving the university, this mentor of mine also left Nigeria to come to the United States for his PhD. So he was there for just the period of time when I was there. As soon as I was graduating, he too was like, okay, I'm going to the United States. I got an admission. So he came ahead of me. I usually say it's like he came ahead of me to the United States. So I finished my degree. I got a master's degree. And he was all the time, he was telling me, don't you think you should try for a PhD? You have all of these prospects. And finally, in 2021, I decided that, okay, enough of, I'm ready to give that a try. And I did. And it all worked out. I tried in for a scholarship. I got an international scholarship to pay for my education. It's really expensive to get a graduate education. It's more than 50,000 a year. So I was able to get that scholarship to, with my advisor, they were able to complete it, and I got in for my degree. So I came into the country at the end of 2021, as I mentioned before, to start my degree. The whole journey was like, finally, you have arrived. It was like a moment of arrival. Oh, finally, you are able to break out of poverty, break out of struggle. Now you're in the United States, you're going to get this fancy education, everything is all good. So I thought. I came in, and the same year I started my degree. Just a few months down the line, I was diagnosed with cancer, very unexpectedly. So I guess I'm going to stop there. Maybe if you have something to say before I keep going, I don't know how you want this to go, or you want me to just tell you the whole
Yeah,
story.
I mean, I told you this was going to be deep. I want to welcome a few people, and then we're definitely going to unpack because you shared a lot of great golden nuggets. You have some incredible fans here that we want to welcome. Rosemary, and I appreciate this. I love this comment. She said, yes, she is a champion. Absolutely. I totally agree. And so we want to welcome you for joining us, Rosemary. And Patience, thank you for joining us. Tim F., thank you so much for joining us. He says, congratulations. Look at all the love you're getting, Doctor. This is amazing. And then, of course, you see this incredible banner and visit my business box, the Hello LLC. They just totally upgraded me. I am so grateful for my team. They're incredible. I call him Mr. Mike Drop, Mr. David Jones, and his incredible significant other. I call her Miss Christmas, Miss Tara Bush, because every time I meet with her, she has a gift for me. It's so amazing. I just love it. And then Gumando, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, but she says so inspiring. I totally agree. And then of course we have Miss Christmas herself is in the house. Welcome, welcome. And we have the incredible Miss Christy Williams, customer service professional, but she is so much more. This woman is brilliant. If you are looking for customer service, or you just want someone to connect with that is going to celebrate you, she's like the biggest LinkedIn fan ever. I just adore her. I love watching everything that she pours into everybody. And then we've got a congratulations down here too. A lot of great comments. I love this. Glenn saying congratulations, Amaka. So inspired with your journey. Keep on shining. I absolutely agree. So a few things I want to highlight is number one, you said you weren't the brightest student. You weren't the shiniest penny in the box, and you
No.
applied and you got rejected. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times rejected. Now think about this. How many of us sometimes, and I'm raising my own hand, I'm not, this is never punitive. I'm here with you. How many times do we try something and it doesn't work out and we say, oh, it must be a sign. God doesn't want me to do that. I wasn't born to do that. That was not meant for me. But you, for some reason, something deep in you, that's why I call it a champion, right? Champions understand there's that that desire, that burning desire that Think and Grow Rich talks about was in you. And you just kept on going. You kept on going 5 times. Help us to understand, what was it? Because you didn't have a lot of support, it doesn't sound like. You didn't have a lot of people saying, oh, you're going to be a doctor one day. Right? So what was it that kept you when you got that first rejection notice? You say, okay, no big deal, I'll try again.
Yep.
But after time, what was it that was going through your mind? Help us to understand that.
Okay, now that I've taken the time to look back on during those period of my life, because I was a teen and I was really young, and as you could tell, like it's not like I had a lot of support before I did find a mentor that supported me. I was already in the university, right? So that 5 phase period was a very dark period. But what really kept me going was the mindset is that I did not like the alternative. Like I already explained, I was from a poor home. I was struggling. I was in my father's business, helping him out, like a small time business. So that was all I could see for my life. And every day I looked at it and I felt like education is my only salvation. Even for my young mind, I could see that that was the only way out for me. So I would look at it and I would say, what is the alternative to not trying? The alternative to not trying is to be stuck in this life year after year, decade after decade, until I was probably 50, 60, 80 years old, and that would be the end of my story. So there was that awareness, even in that young age, even if my mind was not fully formed, I just knew that I had to keep going. So I'll tell myself, then I will say, this is a chapter of my story. So I just have to keep going. I have to keep going. And somehow, even though I was sad and there were moments of depression, there were moments of crying, at the moment I was rejected, the next day I was trying again. I was rejected, the next day I was trying again. And I just kept going. Somehow I built that resilience. And people ask me, how did you do it? I said, I did not see another choice, or I did not like the alternative.
Right.
I did not just like that alternative of just being stuck in that small life that I've had up to that point. I always had a very vivid imagination. So I would get lost in novels, get lost in reading, and I would just imagine so much more. A world that was filled with abundance and a world that was filled with happiness. And I felt like my father was not rich. He's like really struggling. I went to the poorest schools, very average schools and all of those things. So I was deeply aware of my situation and just had that responsibility, even as a young child, to feel like somehow I have to get myself and get us out of this. And that's just that awareness kept me going. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I love what you said. Education was my only salvation. I want to make sure I'm quoting you correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now think about that. She saw that was her only way out. That was what she saw was as her only hope, right? She saw that as her opportunity. And maybe at the time, she didn't think that she was going to inspire anyone. She was inspiring herself.
Mhm.
And now we look back and we say, wow, look at Dr. Amaka. Look at this. This is so incredible. But during that moment, listen, if you're going to do something special, when you're the one, there are dark moments. There are times when it looks like there is nothing happening. Nobody's cheering you on. You got to cheerlead yourself and you got to dig deep. And, sometimes people say, well, we don't need to go to college. And I respectfully disagree. Even if you're going to be an entrepreneur, I wish I'd gone to college because there's so much that we can learn, not just academically, but about ourselves. So I love that you did that and you saw that and you held on to it. And so now you're here, you get this cancer diagnosis. I just can't even imagine. You can go ahead and start from there. We're all here. We want to hear the rest.
Yeah. So like I said, when I came in for my PhD, I was here a couple of months, right? I wasn't feeling all right. I wasn't sick. I was just not fine. The state where you feel like something is off with me, something is off. So I kept going back and forth to the hospital. They couldn't even figure out what was wrong. At some point, they thought I had a brain tumor. I had to do all this brain scan. And it was a lot of drama that went on for a couple of months. And finally, I think I wrote this story one time and I said it was even a mistake that helped them to diagnose correctly. Because in the period, they felt like, oh, we finally got it. This is what you needed. And then they give me this treatment that blows the cancer out of proportion. So my tumor went up to like 7 pounds. It was literally like weighing more than a 9-month-old baby within a short space of time. So that was what triggered it. Because the kind of cancer I had was really insidious. It's the type that people don't find until it's like very like last stage or when they were already dying because of how it is. So I would say that mistake again was grace, luck, God working for me. That's how I see it. And then when that diagnosis was finally finalized, like you have cancer, I remember that day very vividly. I was just in class, first year students, my doctor calls me on the phone. I look at it like the medical director of the hospital is calling me. That was strange, of my school clinic, because I was just going to the hospital in the school. She's like, Amaka, where are you? I said, yeah, I'm in class. I just finished one class. I'm going in for another. I said, can you come into the hospital? I said, I have another class. She said, when do you finish? I said, I'm going to finish in the next 2 hours. She said, I'm going to wait for you. Already, I felt like something was off. Like, why are you calling me on the phone and being so insistent? I hurried up and I went to the hospital, and she looks me straight in the eye. She said, do you have anybody you can call? I don't have any good news. I said, what is it? She said, you have cancer. That was like a shock. It's like you go from thinking you have flu, the way you feel like I have a flu and that's it. I just need a little treatment to get better. And then the next day they tell you have cancer. It was just like that for me, from going from there's nothing wrong with me. And then the next thing, you have cancer. She said, is there anybody you can call? I said, okay, my mentor, he's in the US too. Luckily, he was in the city 2 hours away. I called him and I said, this is what has been said. The doctor said, you need surgery like yesterday. The tumor is aggressive. It's growing rapidly. I'm so afraid. I don't want it spreading in your system. We need to get you into surgery. I need to make a transfer. You need to go to a different city to get a specialist. It was all rush. It just looked as though my life had stopped again. So here I am. I'm looking like I thought I already got away from all of this struggle. And I'll look back and I say, God, is it not enough? Like, have I not been through enough already? I was alone in the United States. Nobody was coming. Nobody was able to come. Nobody had the visa no, I was by myself, literally, in this country. So that was the case. And then I was referred to a different hospital to meet a specialist. And in that period of time, I had received an award from one of the top companies here in the United States. I was supposed to go to their conference to give a presentation to get that award, just like 1 week from the time I got my diagnosis. So I had my tickets booked, everything was set. I was so excited to travel to a different state. I was going to Iowa to go to Koteba. And then I get this diagnosis. I go in to the hospital, and the doctor said, I can get you in for a surgery in the next 3 days. You are really sick, and I need to get this thing out of your system. It's growing aggressively. She finished saying that. In my mind, I'm thinking, I have this trip in 1 week time. I needed to control something. I could not even understand it, Leah, but in that moment, right. I tell my doctor, I said, I have this trip. I have this very important award that I'm supposed to go receive. I'm supposed to go to this conference. It's like in 6 days' time, and I'm supposed to be there for like 3 days and then come back. Do you think I can still go? And everybody's looking at me like, are you crazy? I was like, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well go out with a bang. I have to control something. This is also strange. You suddenly tell me I could not process it. Right. So I asked my doctor again, and she felt like, are you really serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. Can I make this trip? Can I just need to get away from all of this? She's like, okay, I need to check some things just to make sure this and that. And she gave me some instruction, and she okayed it. She's like, yeah, you can go. You go for your trip. You go have your thing. Everybody's, are you sure? I said, yeah, this is what I feel like I need to do for myself. Yeah. The reason I needed to do that is that I needed some sort of control. Everything was slipping out of my hands. Like reality as I knew it had changed. I was a first-year PhD student. I didn't know what was going to happen after my surgery. I had never had any surgery in my life. It was all so strange. So I went for my trip. Nobody even knew I had cancer. I had my presentation. I received my award. I had fun. Forgot my reality for a period of time. And then I came back to it. When I came back to school and then got ready for my surgery, all the time in that moment, I realized that what actually kept me going was I kept telling myself, this is not the end of the story. So I kept smiling. I was very intentional. I would just be smiling. I was like, okay, this my surgery was brutal. Recovery was even worse. You know, it was really, really worse. If you've gone through any kind of abdominal surgery from top to bottom, then you know how difficult
Right.
that was for me. But I got that surgery. Luckily, everything went well. But then recovery, I had to be away from school for more than 3 months just trying to recover. As soon as I got my surgery, got discharged from the hospital a couple of weeks, and then it was just like, say, like 2 weeks or so, less than 2 weeks after my surgery. It was like, I need to get back to my classes. I have to get back to my schoolwork. I don't want to lag behind. People are like, I reached out to my professor. Everybody's saying, oh, you're being too hard on yourself. Just let it go. Just relax. Focus on getting better. I said, this is the only way I know to get better.
Right.
I need to channel my pain and suffering to something. Otherwise, I would fall apart. And again, I was acutely aware that I did not have the luxury of falling apart. I just felt in my mind that I cannot give up now. I've been through so much already. So I just felt like, yeah. So I reached out. I said, I'm ready to continue my classes. After so much back and forth, they saw that I was determined to do it. They let me. I started doing my online classes. And then I ended up acing all of those courses, graduated with a perfect GPA despite that situation. I just realized that there is so much power in our mindset. That's what I feel. I just feel like when you are able to really focus on what you can control and just stay determined on controlling it, it makes all the difference. So I went through all of that period and returned to school after 3 months, threw myself back into my PhD work, kept at it, published all my papers. And then, Leah, I ended up graduating more than 1 year earlier than is typical. So I finished in less than 3 years when I should finish in 4. So I graduated in December. And I got to be valedictorian. So I don't know if you got the chance
Wow.
to watch my speech.
Wow.
Yeah. So but
Oh
that's
my goodness.
that's
Did
like
you
a
hear that?
summary.
She's like, oh, by the way, yes, I graduated valedictorian. Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. Because you know what? I think it's so important for you to share this story. And I know that you are. And I appreciate that you are. Absolutely. Because a lot of times people are going to see you at the end result, right? That you got your PhD and now you're this incredible physician. You're changing lives, saving lives. But they didn't see the story beforehand. Like we all have a story, we all have a before. And when we just focus on the highlight reel, the end, then we think that it was always rainbows and butterflies. I mean, your story, I've heard it so many times, but still, I can't even imagine. And when we think that we're having a hard time, I promise you, there's somebody else that has a more challenging story than us, right? There absolutely is. And I want to be mindful of time because I know you're on your lunch hour. So you've done so much here and you've inspired so many of us. And we love your photos. We love everything you're sharing. What are we going to see from Dr. Amaka in 2025 when it is your year to rise up and thrive? What's on the horizon for you?
Okay, thank you again, Leah. It's just been exciting being here and going over this story again, right? And like I said, I it actually took me 2 years to get ready to share this story because in my mind I felt like the story was only complete when I end my PhD. That's how I saw it in the circle of my mind. And funny enough, when I was going through that journey as a first year student, I told myself that, oh, you have all of these things. Eventually, you are going to graduate as valedictorian and you will tell this story to thousands of people. That's the first year student. Like, I know there is just what I want to point out here is the power of visualization, just how you can visualize a better situation, even when it looks like there is no way forward. If only you could believe and then focus. So I wanted to put that out there. And that was exactly what I did. When I was wrapping up my PhD, I started up my academy, which is the Scholar of Mentoring Academy. I felt like I could have inspired other people who are just like me or other professionals who are trying to do two things. Maybe they're trying to get into grad school or just professionals who are trying to put themselves out there, build a business for themselves and all of those things. And that's why I started the academy. And so far, we've been having our cohorts month to month. It's been 8 months successfully having 40, 50 people in our program month to month and running that program. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I could see the power of mentoring and coaching in my own life, and it left a big impact.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that for other people. And that was exactly what I just started. It's like, the way it is, just start. I just started, and I found people along the way that supported me. I found a team, and we started working, and gradually we had it together. It's like, oh, now this is a thing. We actually built this from the ground up. We built this from nothing, and now we are here, and we're doing our thing, and we're impacting people. We're making all of this difference. So that's been my journey so far. But then also, like I said, as soon as I graduated, I think I'm going to share this as maybe as a testimonial for people who are figuring out, is it important to start building my brand on LinkedIn? Is it important to put myself out there? Absolutely, do it. It's very, very important. Sometimes it's no longer enough to say my hard work would find me. It's not enough. At this age and time, you need to let people know the value that you bring. You need to get to the point where you get very comfortable. For you to put yourself out there, that is how opportunities would find you. By the time I had graduated, just wrapping up, I was in that phase of what am I going to do with myself? When you reached out to me, Leah, and you were asking me if I was going to do this show, I said, I don't know what January will look like. I did not have a job because I was finishing school, and I was wondering, okay, I don't know, should I commit, should I not commit, and all of those things. But in that moment, I had the CEO of my company reach out to me. He just popped in a message on LinkedIn. Hello, I've been following you. I see all the postings you make. We have this role open. I want you to come and lead this thing. You feel like you are just like the perfect fit of the person. He did not know me, right? All he had was a perception that he had curated over a period of just following my post and the way I inspire people and the way I helped other people and all our cohorts and all our programs. Like, yeah, we have this role. Do you want this job?
Wow.
So it was not a case of, are you qualified? Submit your CV. We want you for this job. And that's how I landed this role. So packed up myself from Texas, now in Mississippi, in a job that I absolutely love.
That's
Still doing that. So
incredible.
2025 has been for me getting into a new position. So I started, it's like I'm like barely 1 month in the job. So just getting into my job, getting into that role while I continue with my own academy, which I had been doing, close to a year now before even graduation. I set that up. So that's really been what it is for me, doing that job and then continue to build the networks of people, because I believe so much in the power of networking and collaboration. If you really want to go far, you want to go with so many people, because everybody have their unique perspective, and the diversity just makes it richer. What you can do, you don't know everything. So that's been very helpful for me in my journey as a person, just finding the right networks, knowing when to rely on them, knowing that you cannot just be in isolation. That has been just very great for me. So 2025, I'm so excited for, getting into my new job, and then even doing more now with my academy, that I'm no longer a student. I could really dedicate more time into reaching more people, coming up with more programs, because our programs mainly are focused on professional development and personal branding. I really want to inspire people to reach a point that you just get to the point that you get very comfortable with sharing your story, share your journey, share the values, improve yourself. Just know that you are worth it. Know that nobody is going to come and save you. I just feel like it's something that once you reach that point of understanding that nobody is coming, you have to pull yourself by the bootstrap and save yourself. Then you start moving forward. So that's just always been my message. It's been my brand vision, my brand mission. Just get you to the point that you want more. It's not okay to settle. What you want exists, it's out there. You just have to be willing to reach for it, to go for it, and not just say, oh, it's too difficult. It's always going to be at the beginning, but just be willing to take the next step, because time is really a great equalizer. It gives us the chance to catch up with that version of ourselves that we admire the most, but we have to keep going. Otherwise, it becomes a great interrogator, because it will ask you, are you just wasting your life, or are you doing something great with it? So that's it.
Yeah, that was so good. The fire engine came by. That was fire. That was golden bars. That was golden nuggets. I mean, I'm telling you, you dropped so much wisdom. And here's the thing. We have to focus on the end result. We cannot pay attention to anything else that's happening around us. When we have that vision, listen, that vision was put in you for a reason because you're supposed to achieve it. And I want to be mindful of time. So you have a lot of fans. I want people to be able to reach out to you. And also, if you're here joining us live, please share with us what you do. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, I want people to network in this chat here. This is one of my intentions by shouting you out and giving you that opportunity to shout yourself out. Just like what Dr. Amaka said, it's about us growing together, and we can do that. I've had many people who have found business partners in this chat. They've had business, they've had collaborations and masterminds. So please, if you're a storyteller like Mr. J. Pascal, the storytelling strategist, or whatever you do, put in the chats because somebody is looking for you. So how can people reach you, Dr. Amaka?
Okay, I think I've been growing my LinkedIn network. I think we reached over 32,000. So that's So LinkedIn would be the best place to reach me. It's still the same name. I think I'm probably the only one with this name on LinkedIn, maybe. So you could reach out to me on LinkedIn, send a DM. I'm very open to collaborating with anything that has to do with mindset, professional development, coaching. Those are big topics for me because I truly, truly believe in the power of the human capital. I just believe that once your mind is right, then every other thing just kind of follows. No matter the struggle you go through, you would find the strength to just keep going. So reach out to me. I'm open to corporate trainings and personal trainings and coaching and personal branding and things like that. It's very
I
exciting
love
to be
it. We
here.
love you. Thank
Yeah.
you for taking the time away from your job, your career to be with us and share some golden nuggets. This was fire. I loved it. I had so much fun. And maybe this is you, that you're the one in your family. And maybe things aren't going exactly the way that you anticipated. And maybe you've been rejected. Maybe people have put you down. Maybe people laugh at you. Maybe you're not the shiniest penny in the box. And now people say, there's no way. You can't do this. You can't graduate. You can't get a PhD. You can't be a valedictorian. Yes, that vision was there for you. You are the one in your family that is supposed to change your last name forever. Think about that. And that's a huge responsibility. So you are going to have adversity. You have to understand it comes as part of the package. But at the end, think about when you achieve that, who you're going to inspire, because there are many people who are attached to your red wagon. And they may not be outwardly your biggest fan, but somewhere down deep inside, they are rooting for you. They want you to win, because when you win, you give them hope. You inspire them. You show them that it's possible. And oh my gosh, this was so amazing. Thank you. I am so honored that you were able to take the time. I appreciate you so much. We love you. Thank you, every one of you who joined us. You've got so many fans, so many incredible messages here, so much support. And I'm just excited to be connected with you. I'm honored to be a part of the process. And I will always remember when we were on Motivation Monday and Eric said, "Oh, Amaka, she's a doctor. She's a doctor now." It's like, oh my gosh, that's so great. LinkedIn is an incredible place. I know we all love it. I absolutely adore LinkedIn. I'm on a lot of platforms, but LinkedIn is definitely my number one. So we're going to let you go so you can have some time to recover, get ready for your job. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And remember, this is your year to rise up and thrive in 2025 and make it the best year of your life. Thank you, everybody.
So fun being here. Thank you for having me, Leah. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Are you ready
bye-bye.
to take control of your financial future? Introducing Leah Garcia's Wall of Wealth, the ultimate one-page financial plan to protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth with confidence. Whether you're a business owner or just starting your financial journey, this step-by-step guide gives you the tools to create a solid foundation for long-term success. Don't wait to transform your money mind shift. Download your free copy today at leahgarcia.io and start building your wall of wealth now.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Wealthy Wednesday.